Now let's talk about what everyone really wants to know. President Trump's announcement about sending $2,000 stimulus checks to Americans before the end of 2025. This is real, and it's based on the president's statements about tariff revenue. According to recent reports from Time magazine and other sources, President Trump has stated that the U.S. is bringing in billions and trillions of dollars from tariffs, and he wants to give that money back to Americans as a dividend. Here's what the president said through his social media. A dividend of $2,000 per person, not including high-income people, will be paid to everyone. He's claiming this money will come from the massive tariff revenue the country is collecting. Now, the president hasn't specified exactly who qualifies as high income, so that detail is still being worked out. But the intention is clear. Most Americans, including seniors on Social Security and disability benefits, would receive this payment. Here's what you need to understand. This isn't the first time President Trump has proposed this kind of payment. There's actually a history here. It started back in July with a $600 dividend proposal. The president suggested giving Americans $600 per person as a tariff rebate, similar to the pandemic stimulus checks. Senator Josh Hawley from Missouri even drafted legislation to make it happen, specifically including seniors on Social Security and disability benefits. Then in August, the amount increased. The president floated the idea of $1,000 or $2,000 payments. And now, most recently, he's confirmed the $2,000 amount and says he wants it done before the end of 2025. Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent said in an ABC interview this week that he hasn't yet spoken with the president about the specific details of this latest promise. But the proposal is out there, and it's real. So the big question everyone's asking, is this really going to happen, and when? Here's the reality. For this to become actual money in your bank account, legislation needs to pass through both the House and the Senate, and then the president has to sign it. Now, I'm not going to get political here, but I will state what we've all observed. When President Trump makes something a priority with this Republican-controlled Congress, he tends to get what he wants. That's just been the pattern we've seen. If the president makes this $2,000 payment his #1 priority and pushes Congress to pass it before the end of the year, there's a real possibility it could happen. The question is whether he'll make it that kind of priority. Based on everything we know so far, here's who would qualify. Seniors receiving Social Security retirement benefits, people on Social Security disability insurance, SSDI, SSI recipients, veterans, working Americans. The president specifically said, not including high-income people, but we don't yet know where that income cutoff will be.
Yeah, right. You guys believe that? When I see it, I believe it.
Previous stimulus rounds, payments typically phased out, starting around $75,000 for individuals and $150,000 for married couples. The key point is that this would function like the pandemic stimulus checks, a direct payment based on income thresholds, with most Americans qualifying. If this payment does go through before the end of 2025, here's what it could mean. For someone on Social Security getting the average benefit of $1,925 per month, a $2,000 payment is more than a full month's worth of income. That's huge for covering holiday expenses.
I'll believe it when I see it.
Paying down debt, or building an emergency fund. For couples both receiving Social Security, that could be $4,000 coming your way. For veterans on disability, this would stack on top of your VA benefits. And remember, this wouldn't reduce or affect your regular monthly Social Security payments. It's a one-time dividend on top of what you're already receiving. Let me be straight with you about timing. The president said before the end of 2025, which means we're looking at the next 6 to 7 weeks. That's a very tight timeline for Congress to draft legislation, hold hearings, pass it in both chambers, and get it signed. It's possible. We saw it happen with pandemic relief, but it requires urgency and cooperation. If it doesn't happen by the end of December, there's still a possibility it could happen in early 2026, especially if the legislation is introduced now, but takes a few extra weeks to pass. My advice, don't spend this money in your head yet. Don't make financial commitments based on a payment that isn't in your account. But stay informed and be ready, because if it does happen, you want to know what to expect. Here's your action plan. First, Make sure your information is current with the Social Security Administration. If they sent out pandemic stimulus checks to the wrong address or bank account, you know how long it took to fix. If you haven't filed taxes recently and you're required to, make sure you do. Previous stimulus payments were based on tax returns, and if you're eligible to file but haven't, you might miss out.